Let's now talk about a very crucial development happening just beyond our borders. And recently, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir issued a decree offering a blanket amnesty to rebels, including his bitter rival Riek Machar. The announcement came after the two men signed a power-sharing deal in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, aimed at ending a nearly 5-year civil war that has killed tens of thousands and uprooted millions. Kiir also reiterated a call for his forces to observe a ceasefire agreed in June by both the government and Dr. Machar's rebels. The two leaders signed a power-sharing agreement that paves the way for Dr. Machar to return to South Sudan as one of 5 vice presidents, a role he occupied until shortly before the conflict erupted in December of 2013. When Kiir accused him of plotting a coup. One man who was there when the deal was being signed and probably played a critical role is the CAS in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ababu Namwamba, who now joins us live from Mombasa. And many thanks for joining us this morning, sir, for this conversation. Maybe first of all, talk to us about the journey to arriving at this all-important deal. Was it easy? Was it difficult? How was it arriving at this deal?
Thank you, Sharon. I'm glad to join you this morning from Mombasa. And the journey to returning South Sudan to the path of peace, security, and stability has not been easy. It has been long and arduous. As we all know, of course, it's very easy to start a war. Very, very easy to start a war, but it's mighty difficult to end a conflict. Especially a conflict with deep-seated mistrust, a conflict that has cost countless lives of innocent people. And one of the biggest challenges we have faced in this process, therefore, has been bridging the huge trust deficit amongst leaders, deficit amongst political groupings, and even the citizenry themselves, to the extent that you have seen some very strong ethnic-based sentiments that have all combined to make this a very difficult process. And it's because of that difficulty, really, that all the parties to this peace deal must be commended for putting the interest of South Sudan first. And also the leaders of this region, the leadership within IGAD. The leadership within IGAD has been very focused. Our own President, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, has led from the front. In fact, at Foreign Affairs, we say he's diplomat number 1, because he really has been at the forefront of focusing our attention on this matter. And he has played a very, very key practical role. You will remember, Sharon, that at one time in 2015, at the height of the conflict around J1, which is the seat of the presidency, President Uhuru Kenyatta personally flew to Juba and managed to secure the release of a number of political detainees that he managed to come with to Nairobi. And this has been all part of that whole process to get the parties to start talking. We've engaged in a lot of back and forth. We've engaged in a lot of shuttle diplomacy. Our Council of Ministers has had occasion to sit down with President Salva Kiir face-to-face in Juba. We went all the way to Pretoria to have meetings with Dr. Riek Machar face-to-face in Pretoria. And we have engaged all the groupings, the SSOA, the political grouping that is called the South Sudan Political Association of Political Parties, civil society groups, women, youth groups, groupings bringing together refugees, IDPs. It's not been easy because you're dealing with a process that has been fractious, and as I've already said, poisoned by a huge trust deficit, and therefore this deal is momentous. It is significant in that context.
And this is not the first agreement that has been signed by the two gentlemen. What are your expectations, particularly regarding this one? Are there any indications? Are you optimistic that this particular one is going to stick?
You know, we have made it very clear, and we continue to make it very clear to the leaders and the people of South Sudan that this is not about anybody else. This is about them. This is about their nation. It's about their country. It's about the future of this beautiful country of great people, really. And therefore, they have to commit themselves to make this work. We have shared with them experiences from around the region. I've got opportunity to share with them experiences of our own post-election conflict after the 2007 elections, and the commitment that the leaders here made to put those differences behind and put the country first and invest in institutionalizing the culture of democracy, making constitutional democracy or democratic constitutionalism the unifying public philosophy for the country. And therefore, ultimately, we can urge them on, we can urge them, we can encourage them, we can even push them. But at the end of the day, where this deal will hold or break is the commitment of the leadership and the people of South Sudan themselves. I sense there has been a shift in attitude to a very large extent. When I first got engaged in this process, I noticed a huge trust deficit previously, and an attitude of a very hardline attitude, or almost recalcitrance, as you would say. But that attitude has mellowed, and I believe that the people of South Sudan and their leaders also know that there's a lot of frustration, there is a lot of fatigue with this continuing conflict and making commitments that do not hold. And therefore, I believe that there is a renewed commitment. I am very hopeful, Sharon, that this latest deal will hold, and I'm also very happy that in the immediate aftermath of the signing of this deal, President Salva Kiir acted very magnanimously in making the blanket amnesty that has sort of removed the hard line or the hard feelings between himself and key leaders in his government towards the opposition, towards Dr. Riek Machar. And what that amnesty does is that it allows everybody involved in this matter to engage once again without any restrictions and without being unnecessarily fettered by baggage from the past.
Right. And what does this peace agreement mean for the region, especially if it holds? What will it mean for the region?
It is significant, Linda. It's absolutely significant. Remember, this is a region where we have very close ties. We trade together. And of course, Sharon, you're aware that our own president here, President Uhuru Kenyatta, has been pushing what we call the Afrocentric foreign policy, a foreign policy whose focus really is to place Africa at the center of our regional and international relations, meaning that the instability in any corner of this continent and in any corner of this region destabilizes the whole region, really. Kenya, for instance, has suffered the brunt of playing host to hundreds of thousands, in fact millions of refugees. And these refugees exact a heavy toll on our social fabric, on our economic fabric. There are also serious security-related issues that come with that kind of situation, and therefore, just on the basis of the heavy toll that refugees exact on our nation, it will be useful to have peace around us. But there is also the added advantage of a more stable region being good for trade, being good for free movement of people, goods and services. And therefore, this peace deal, coming hot on the heels of the deal between Ethiopia and Eritrea, does send a very strong signal globally that the Horn of Africa region, the East Africa region, is moving in the right direction of peace and stability. And this is good for this region to trade more and to attract investment and therefore be able to have shared prosperity for all our peoples. And it's important. So we hope that this then can be sort of a benchmark. It can add to the momentum of Ethiopia, Eritrea, add to the momentum of Somalia, add to the momentum of Burundi, and ultimately lead to a very settled, very calm, very stable region where we can now focus on investing in the prosperity of our people.
Right. Many thanks. Ababu Namwamba is a CAS in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, speaking to us about that recent peace agreement arrived at by President Salva Kiir of South Sudan and Riek Machar, and what specifically this will mean for the region. Let's come back to the country now. And emboldened by her recently successful Green Gram or Ndengu revolution in the county, Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu is readying herself for another flagship project on Tuesday next week, when she will launch the county's universal health coverage. The cover, dubbed Kitui County Health